Hi, welcome to the Two Piece Podcast, where two very different people compare and contrast their top fives on a variety of topics. I'm Steph, and I will be joined by Alex in just a bit. Today's topic is top 5 favorite stories about aliens, and I'm so stinking excited to get into this topic today. I love talking about aliens, and I get so excited. We cover some very interesting facts and even some stories that might give you some goosebumps. And Alex found some really cool stories, and I have some that kind of help him learn some stuff too. So, all right, well, let's get to it. Welcome to the Two Piece Podcast. I'm Steph.
I'm Alex.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Sorry, I'm laughing just because there was like this 15-second silence before she said that. All you heard, listener, was the music, her talking, and then she talked again. But I heard this. Welcome to the Two Piece Podcast.
Well, I had to give you enough time to cut the "Are you ready?" and then to put the music in. Yeah, I had to give you enough time to do all the cutting.
I know. Well, I would have cut it just fine. I've been editing these just fine so far.
Yeah, but I was giving you a room for a clean cut.
Well, I have something to say speaking of editing, though. Nobody pointed this out. You either, Steph. I have an episode that I labeled episode 44 twice.
You did not.
So this is technically supposed to be episode, I believe. Oh, geez, hold on. I did 44. I did 44 again.
Oh, my gosh.
This past episode was 45, and this one's 46.
So
but
this
technically,
is 47.
47.
You're fired.
Excuse me?
You're fired.
I'd love to see you do this podcast without me.
This won't be airing.
She wouldn't know how to air it.
I wouldn't.
Have you seen that social media post we did? Never mind, never mind. By the way, follow us at the Two Piece Pod on Instagram and Twitter. Twitter not so much, but Instagram, Facebook.
That was that was a muscle memory.
Yeah, it was.
That was a muscle memory plug. Yeah, not Twitter.
Yeah.
No, do Instagram, TikTok.
We're on TikTok, YouTube as well, of course. Check us out all those places.
And Facebook.
Steph has kind of revived our social media presence and she's doing a great job, so check those out. Those are really fun. I did want to apologize really quick while I'm speaking, because of course it's me speaking. If you hear anything in the background while we're talking tonight, or today, whenever you're listening, so we record this at my house. I have no AC right now, and it's the middle of summer.
It's hot in here.
So it's hot and muggy in this house, and we have fans blowing to keep us cool. So I have I have things set up to help mitigate that sound in my studio, but it still may come through from time to time while I'm talking because it's set up through a gate. So I apologize if Steph and I, when we talk, you hear some buzzing.
It'll just sound like the beach.
But
we're at the beach and the wind is blowing. Just envision that.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, we're at the beach and the wind's blowing and the ocean sound in the background.
You have such a way with words, Steph.
I know, thanks. Okay, so what's our topic today?
I was going to say, you know who else has a way with words?
Aliens. Yeah.
Or do they?
Yeah.
Do they have ways with words?
Yeah, they do.
Steph, tell people why. Well, okay, first of all, we're doing, as you said at the beginning, top 5 alien stories.
Yes.
Top 5 favorite alien stories.
Yep.
This was suggested by our good friend,
Thank you, Weston. Thank you. You gave me the option last episode. You gave me a surprise. You gave me the option to choose between several different topics that were alien related that Weston offered up for us.
This is just a one-off random. We didn't really pick from random episode.
Well, we got so excited. Well, I got so excited. I don't remember how it came up, but the episode before last, we talked about aliens for some reason or another. I don't remember how it came up because that was several weeks ago. And then Weston listened to it, and I think he was excited because I was excited. And so he suggested a couple different alien topics for me.
Right. And remember, I said it has to be randomly polled, but he said, just let me meet you halfway. Right. So he gave the topics. You know what? He gave the topics. We don't have to randomly poll it. we'll just.
And you
I
offered
love
me the
Steph.
option.
I gave her the option just to
pick.
do it.
Yeah, so I appreciate that. And I picked the one you did not want me to pick.
Yep,
which was because that's why we're doing this show, because we're opposite.
Because we're totally different.
The top 5 favorite alien stories.
Alien stories we found, stories we've heard. It could be stories. Anything. So, quick throwback, though, to our last episode. If you didn't hear it, it was our top 5 least favorite chores.
Yep.
That was a really fun one. Make sure you listen to that after this if you haven't already. But I did want to say, we always give you shout-outs if you comment kind of what your take is on the topic that week. And we got one from Mama. Hello, Mama. The question was, what's a chore you don't like doing? Right? So you can always answer these questions on like YouTube, or of course this is on Spotify specifically. So if you're a Spotify listener, look for those questions.
What does she not like doing?
So she says housework, all of them. Farm work, cleaning pens.
Oh.
So other farm work she likes doing, but not the
pen cleaning.
Not the pen cleaning. But housework, she hates all of it. It's like, you know what, that's fine. That explains a lot. I love it. I love cleaning the house, but she already knows that. So, because it's my mama.
That's why you like doing it, because she hates it.
Because she hates it. But yeah, like I said, if you for this episode, if you have like a short little like alien anecdote or an alien story, share it. We might share on the next episode at the beginning.
Yes, please do share.
Steph loves aliens. Do you want to give any little like background into why you love aliens so much, or do you just want to get into these stories?
Let's get into the stories.
You're not gonna...
It'll come.
Oh, it's one of her numbers, I guess. So this is a personal story. Interesting. Okay. None of my stories are personal.
Oh, well, that's your problem.
Okay. So I know I go first.
Yep.
So I will go.
Good job.
I will go.
For keeping up with that.
You probably need to stop saying it. You're dating yourself, because I've gotten it right for like 5 episodes.
I know, but
now.
that's why I'm impressed, because
Right, well.
I haven't said anything and you've continued to keep up with it. And
I
so
get it,
I
kid.
am
I get
impressed
it. Shh.
with the
All right.
the
Sorry.
continuation.
I feel bad for
the
shushing
consistency.
her. I'm shushing you in a hot room with no AC.
Do
I don't
you-
have a lot of room to
Do
control
you
this.
not hear that I just ignored the shush and continued to talk? So don't feel bad.
Well, okay. I don't, because I wasn't listening.
I know you weren't. Go with your number
So.
5.
I didn't listen enough to know that you kept talking
I know.
after I
You
shushed
never do. You never do. So just go with your number 5.
Okay, so I will give a quick disclaimer. I'm very excited to do this. These stories come from various places I found on the internet. I just did research for like alien stories that I find interesting.
Oh, of course you had to do research, so it's fine.
Not research, I just mean like I researched the stories. That's all.
Uh-huh.
So you're telling me the 5 stories you have, you just knew?
3 of them.
I'm highly intrigued because I didn't think you've had any contact with aliens.
Well, you don't know me very well then.
So I haven't that I know of, or you're an alien. Who knows?
Who knows?
Anyway.
Oh, do you remember that Scooby? Okay, before we get in, do you remember that Scooby-Doo episode with the aliens?
You mean the movie?
Was it the movie? Was it a movie? It was the movie, and it had the aliens.
Yes.
That was the best one ever.
Oh, geez, it was... Because you're asking the Scooby-Doo guy here.
Yeah, that was the best one.
Scooby-Doo and the cyber chase something.
I don't know, but it was the best one.
I think. Yeah, I remember. The aliens had really weird...
Yeah.
It looked like somebody had like dreadlock heads. I know that sounds weird, but
that was
like,
the best one. That was the best Scooby-Doo.
that wasn't cyber something, but that was like they were out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. In the desert. Yeah, it was
In the desert.
I loved
That was
it.
a great movie.
I loved it so much. Okay.
Oh,
all right.
Scooby-Doo and the Alien Invaders. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. It's just called the
It was
Alien
so
Invaders.
good.
Great movie. 90s Scooby-Doo movies were cream of the crop because they had Zombie Island, which is also amazing.
I don't remember that one.
We need to watch that because it's one of my favorite like movies, period.
Okay.
It's so good. It's also kind of creepy.
Mm.
And then also Scooby-Doo, like the cyber one. I can't think what that's called. Cyber Chase, that was also really good. That era, they had some good movies. And who knows what Scooby-Doo is now, huh? Anyway, I'm talking to you, Scooby-Doo. All right. He's not listening. All right, my number 5. So these alien stories come from kind of all over the place.
Okay.
These are just from least to most, like, interesting to me. So this first one's not super interesting, but it's still top 5 for me. Mainly because it takes place in my home state, of Illinois.
Ooh.
So this took place. My number 5 is the Chicago O'Hare International Airport saucer. No, by the way, I don't know if you wanted to say this too, but I'm going to be reading a lot of these stories.
I'm going to be reading them too.
Okay. So we'll have to be very charismatic as we read our stories, like campfire stories, right? Like, and then,
Where did you get this one from?
I didn't look.
Was it history.com?
No, it was not history.com.
Okay.
You must have it too.
Well, read your story.
Mine is super short.
Read your story.
This is more informational.
Okay, read your story.
All right. On November 7th, 2006, this one isn't really a story, United Flight 446 was about to depart from Chicago O'Hare's International Airport when a dozen United Airlines employees spotted an odd metallic craft hovering over the gate. The employees reported that it hung in the air for several minutes before finally shooting up at breakneck speed into the clouds. The strangest part? The UFO did not register on the airport's radar despite all the witnesses. The Federal Aviation Administration declined to investigate, chalking it up to a quote-unquote weather phenomenon. That's all. See, this is a great way to get us warmed up, because it's one of those things where it's like, there's going to be a trend in some of my stories of some authority, like, the authorities is kind of going, pretending like nothing ever happened, not digging into things any further. You're making a weird face. Do you have this on your list and you have a different story? This is super short. This is more of like almost like a news segment.
I have it on my list. I
guess you should. What number is it?
It's my number 3.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. I was very interested in it.
Is yours just more elaborate?
It has a little bit more detail.
Well, share anything if you have anything in particular.
Well, shoot. It's my number 3.
You said
I'll read it. All right.
Okay.
All right. I'll go to my number 3.
All right.
Oh, so it's
This is interesting.
It's a similar story. So mine's from www.history.com/news/UFO sightings. So I put this as my number 3 because I thought it was very interesting because it was in like Chicago.
Yeah.
Right. It's at an airport where people actually saw it. Like, and it's like, it could have been us. We could have seen this thing.
You're right. It could have been us.
Like, why couldn't I have been that lucky? Anyway.
We need to get down to the reason why you love aliens so much.
Okay. Well, it's not my fault you picked the one that's the 3 on my list, so I couldn't read my number 5.
Oh, so that one's your number 5. Okay.
No.
Well, we're going to know that in a minute.
Okay. So mine says, this is reading from the website, Flight 446 was getting ready to fly to North Carolina.
So we have more information.
From Chicago's O'Hare International Airport when a United Airlines employee on the tarmac noticed a dark gray metallic craft hovering over gate C-17.
So this is more specific.
Yeah. So if you're at Chicago O'Hare International Airport, this happened above gate C-17. So if you ever fly out of there, C-17 is where it's at. Okay, keep your eyes open.
Because it could happen again.
And ready.
It's almost been 20 years.
That day was November 7th, 2006. A total of 12 United employees and a few witnesses outside the airport spotted the saucer-shaped craft around 4:15 p.m. The witnesses say it hovered for about 5 minutes before shooting upward where it broke a hole in the clouds, enough that pilots and mechanics could see the blue sky. The news reported the most read story on the Chicago Tribune's website to that date, and it made international news. However, because the UFO was not seen on the radar, the FAA called it a quote-unquote weather phenomenon and declined to investigate. It's the same story as yours. It just had a little extra detail.
We're going to see in some of these stories that I have, though, that final part is a trend. It's like, let's just...
Is it? And then I'm going to wrap it all up very nicely for us at the end.
Oh, I guess you are, aren't you?
Yeah.
I'm glad you explained that because there actually is a little more information there, but obviously the core story still holds true. It's a weird one, the UFO thing. Though I've never seen anything up close like that. We've all seen UFOs at night, but you don't know what that really is. A UFO could mean anything. Right. It doesn't have to be extraterrestrial life. It's just unidentified
flying
object.
object.
Yeah. For those of you who may not have known, but imagine being there though, taking your flight. I feel like these people though, like you could never forget something like that. You could never forget it.
I know. I
feel like I don't remember the story though, and I feel like, I mean, I'm sure it happened. I just don't remember it happening at the time. But I guess we were pretty young.
What story? This story?
Yeah.
I don't remember it.
It said
either.
it made national news. It's like I don't remember it making.
It made
international
news.
International news.
International news.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't remember either, but I was in 6th grade. I don't remember.
So how are we going to do this here?
So you just go with your number 4 and then
you'll go with your 5?
Yeah, because I'll skip my 3. We'll make up for it.
So I'd say from here, the alien stories just get stranger and stranger. So hopefully if you're an alien fan, you're just joining us for the first time, that you're really digging in this with us because we love it. So this next story is a story. So there's a Reddit thread, and it compiled stories kind of from across the internet on this thread, and people were reposting them to Reddit.
Mm-hmm.
And I grabbed a couple from there because some of these are really interesting. So these are like anonymous storytellers, right? Some of them have like these really weird usernames or whatever, but they're anonymous for the most part, just besides the strange username. So you can find these on Reddit if you'd like. Okay. This 4th story it didn't have a title, but somebody else titled it, "Don't Tell Anyone." Okay.
Okay.
Here we go. This is a story of my father's. It happened in 1982.
I'm so excited.
I know. I'm excited for these too. I'm really excited to get into
I'm
these.
going to have goosebumps.
I know. You probably will the farther down we go on this list. This is a story of my father's. It happened in 1982 while my father was stationed on a military base in New Brunswick. One night, my father's best friend and his girlfriend just left after dark to go see Tron in a movie theater. About an hour later, the friend and his girlfriend were back on the base. The car pulled in, and my father immediately noticed that it was damaged pretty badly and covered in several different colors of paint. My father asked them what had happened, why they had not gone to the movie. They brushed him off and went to bed. A few days later, my father got his friend to tell him what happened. They were driving along a stretch of highway and they noticed lights coming from over a hill just ahead, and in parentheses, where no lights should be because there was nothing around for miles. Just at the base of that hill was a parking lot for a park. A bunch of cars were pulling into the parking lot to investigate the lights, so my father's friend pulled in too. Everyone got out of their cars and was about to start hiking to the top of the hill when a large disc with flashing lights rose above the hill's peak and emitted a loud, strange sound. Several cars got banged up and everyone's panicked to get away. Thus the transfer of paint. So everyone's trying to, you know what I mean? My father's friends drove back to the base as fast as possible. A few days later, men in black suits showed up on the base looking for people. They talked to my father's friend and then sent him on his way. My father asked him what the men wanted to see him for. The men told the friend that he better shut up and say nothing about anything that happened if he wanted to keep his military career.
Oh, my.
And that's how the story ends.
Oh!
See, once again, another one of those things like, you know.
They let an alien escape their prison.
See, some of these stories, I don't know. I mean, we haven't talked about how we feel about aliens, right? Other life, right? That can be a conversation we have if you want, but this one I thought was just a fun story. It's not the most story for me, but I still like it, so I put it on there because I was trying to paint the picture before it told itself. Like, why would the car be damaged? And have paint on
that
it,
was pretty good.
So I thought that was pretty good.
I came across some scary ones, but I kept those off my list because usually we record at night. You know,
I thought you like aliens.
I do, but when they're scary though,
Have
I'll stay up all night because I'll be a little nervous.
Have you seen
I'll
Alien?
have bad dreams. No.
You need to see Alien. I mean, that's scary.
Yeah, I don't want to see it.
But like it's not like scary like The Shining kind of scary or Friday the 13th. That's not like that. It's like sci-fi thriller with a little horror in it too.
No.
You're gonna watch it.
Mm,
It's a classic.
I don't know.
All right.
We'll see.
Well, anyway, there's
That was a good story.
Don't tell anyone.
I like it.
So yeah, we are recording this at night right now. This is fun. I like it. We're
Well,
getting into it.
I found okay. Oh, okay.
Just don't say it if it freaks you out.
Well, I want to though. I'm not going to tell the story. Oh, I don't want to.
You have to say something now because I'm right here and we're live on the show.
I know. Well,
You have to say something.
oh, I don't even want to say it out loud though.
It's not that bad. Just say it.
Well, I don't want to say the word of what it is.
What is it?
I don't want to say it.
Probe?
No. I don't want to say it. It's like a creature. I don't want to say it.
Just say it.
No, I don't want to say it.
Then I'm going to cut all of that out.
Okay, I'll say it.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, it makes me feel
Just look
yucky.
right at me. It's okay.
It makes me feel yucky. It makes me feel creepy.
Okay.
There are these things. They're called like skinwalkers. Oh, have you heard of that before?
Oh, yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
you heard of that?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. They're creepy. Oh.
Let me look it up to make sure.
Have you heard of it? Don't talk about it. Don't talk about it to me though, please. Don't
won't.
talk about it. But there are stories. There's a place in Utah, a ranch where there's that and aliens, and there's all these stories. And I came across it, and I almost added it to my list because there's all these things that happen all the time there. And then I thought, because it was such a good story, and then I thought, no, I'm not talking about that demonic stuff. No, not bringing
Are they
it
demonic?
into fruition. I think that in some cases, I don't know.
Well,
I don't know. I'm not bringing all that up.
yeah,
No, thank you.
I won't show you the picture.
No,
though, 'cause I got a picture. pulled
Nope,
up.
I've seen one and a picture, and I would not like to see that
Was it
ever
the
again.
security footage picture?
No, I don't want to see it. Don't show it.
I won't show it to you.
No,
Look up Skinwalker at your own risk. It is kind of creepy, but everybody
it's
listen.
a thing. There was a video.
This is all silly dilly.
Well,
but we're having fun here.
maybe. I don't know. Who knows what's out there?
I'm gonna put.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway,
All right.
we'll talk later.
You're gonna put what?
Nothing. The other suggestions that Weston
It was like a
gave us-
creature thing or whatever. Was another
cryptids.
Cryptids.
Because there's a couple that I'm thinking of now that I have to put on here that might even be my number one, like my favorite cryptids.
Ooh. Okay.
So yeah.
Well, a skinwalker thing would be a cryptid.
Yep.
Anyway, there's a ranch in Utah that has these things or stories about these things and alien abductions, and like they say like you can't throw a stone as far as somebody that has been abducted by aliens or whatever. Anyway, but I didn't put that story on my list because it was just a little too
Okay,
creepy.
that's fine. Well, what is your number 4?
All right. Nope. My number 5.
Your number 5.
My number 5 is, let's switch it to a little happier topic. My number 5 talks a little bit about why I love aliens so much.
But yet she's so afraid of them. Actually, this is going to explain that too, because I know this story. So
Yeah, I love aliens so much. I've loved aliens since I was a little girl. I don't really remember why I was so obsessed with them when I was little, but
probably the Scooby-Doo movie.
No, I liked them before then. I think it was my 7th birthday party. I think it was my 7th birthday. It might have been my 6th or 7th birthday party. But I told my mom I wanted an alien themed birthday party.
While all the other kids are doing like superhero
Barbie,
birthdays or Barbie or whatever,
Barney and
stuff.
whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway,
SpongeBob.
I was like, I want an alien birthday party.
It's like okay, I have a crazy daughter. I
Yeah,
see.
no, that was me. It was me. We went to, I had a birthday party at Fun Quest, and my mom made me an alien cake, and it was like an alien head, like a typical alien, like green, like the round head with like the pointy chin, green, and then the black, like
the big black
oval
eyes. They all look the same. The classic cartoon green alien.
Yeah. And then my Nana found. Okay, if you remember, like back in the 90s, right? You had those really tall, like you could get them at like the fair or maybe like the Dollar Tree or whatever. And those like tall, or it was tall when we were little, right? Those tall blow up like aliens.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you'd usually get them, at the fair. You'd, like, win them. I
Yeah.
used to get those, too. I loved it. I
Yeah.
had a blue one I loved.
Okay, so my Nana,
They're about
I
4
got,
foot tall.
yeah, but it was so tall to me.
Yeah,
Like, it was huge to me.
maybe 3 foot.
So I had a green one, and I think I had a silver one that was tall. And then my Nana had found at the Dollar Tree a bunch of little short ones that were like sitting and in a bunch of different colors. And so she blew them all up on the day of my party. Her and Mom blew them all up and put them at the base of the stairs. And they were like, it was going to be a surprise. So they were going to hand them out as party favors at my birthday party at FunQuest. But they blew them all up and put them at the base of the stairs, and they were all excited. So what I used to always say to my mom, and I don't know why I would say this, but I would always say, I want aliens to like come and like abduct me. That's what I would always say. Like, I want to meet aliens, and I want them to come like abduct me. Like, I want to go hang out with them, right?
I need this.
Like,
I need this.
I didn't want to leave my house, but like I wanted them to bring me back home, okay? But like I wanted to meet them and hang out with them.
Bless your young heart.
I didn't know what I was saying. And I thought it'd be fun. I don't know what I was thinking, right? I don't know. And anyway, but then my mom, like, I remember this. My Nana was downstairs with like these little blow up aliens. She like blew up and put it all at the base of the stairs. And my mom was like walking with me, holding my hand. And I was at the top of the stairs, and I was ready for my party. And I looked down at the stairs, and there were all these aliens. I remember I was so freaking scared. I was so freaking scared.
You asked for this.
And I started crying. And my mom was like, oh my gosh. She's like, you say you want them to abduct you. Like, you're scared of these. They're not real. They're not real.
You literally asked for this.
But then I wouldn't let them take them to the party because I wanted to keep them all.
Yeah.
So then I wasn't scared of them. So I kept them all in my room. So
you were just initially scared.
I was just initially scared. Yeah. Then I was fine. And then I loved them. So I kept every single one of those suckers.
How long do you think you kept those things?
Oh.
How long were they up in your room?
At least a year.
So you're telling me that every few months, because you'd have to re-air those things up.
I mean, it had to have been at least a year. Yeah, I mean, it would have made my mom blow them back up. Had to have been at least a year. I had that tall green alien for several years.
Realistically, how many were there? Like, honestly, like in your room? Like more than 10? Or probably around 10?
I'd have to confirm with my mom.
But like, would 10 be unreasonable? Or probably around like 8 to 10?
Including the silver and green tall ones.
Yeah.
Probably 8.
Whew! That's still quite a bit.
Yeah. But I wouldn't let them hand them out to anybody at the party.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know where the initial love of aliens came from. I don't know where it started, but like I also had like a little doll that had a blue space suit on, and it was an alien, but it had like a hard head with 2 antennas on it, and its head glowed in the dark, and you like squeezed its abdomen, and its head would light up, and it would say like I don't remember what it would say, but it would be like, and it would say things.
I'd never want to have that.
Oh, I loved it. I don't know if that's how, but it would say stuff. I don't remember what it would say, but like outer space or whatever it would say. I don't know. Stuff. It would just say stuff.
Outer space!
I don't know. But anyway, I had all these alien things. I loved it so much.
Well,
I had a goldfish that I named. I had 2 goldfish at the same time. One was named Sunshine, and the other one was named Alien.
Wow.
Yes.
I had a goldfish named Donkey Kong.
Oh, well, that fits.
I had another one. I think it was named like Mario, or they were all like Nintendo characters.
That fits you.
Well, I did love. I still do. I've always been kind of drawn to just outer space in general, and by extension, extraterrestrial beings and all that stuff. Is there life on other planets? That whole thing. I've always been drawn to that. But specifically more just like what could be out there that we don't know about, you know?
Yeah.
I have a book sitting on my bookshelf right now. I don't know if you've ever seen it, Steph, but it's just called The Universe.
Yeah, I've seen it.
And I might have talked about this on the podcast before, so I apologize if I have. I'll keep it brief, but it's old. There's probably a new version of it now. It's almost a 15-year-old book, if not older, but it's images from the Hubble telescope, and each one is so many more light years out than the next one.
Well, they just got those new images from that new telescope, remember?
Yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, it goes out as far as it can, and it gets to a point to where where the writers have to start speculating what they're seeing, because we don't know what we're seeing at those later images. It's really interesting and how far out it goes, and it talks about the universe and talks about universes. How many universes are there, right? Like there's multiple galaxies. How many universes are there? There's so much that we don't know. And it's just really fun to speculate and think. And it also makes you feel really small and weird at the same time.
Yeah.
So hot seat, putting you in the hot seat right now, Steph. Is there life on other planets?
There has to be.
I feel the same way.
There's no way. There's no way that I don't want to say universe because there's multiple universes, but like that space is as big as it is.
The more that we are discovering, the less we're knowing. Like the less we know.
Right.
So
like, we're used, like what is it even called? Because we're used to referring to that space out there, right, as the universe. Like that we refer to that as the universe, right? And that we're talking about the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
But there's multiple universes, right?
Right, so like how do we know there's not multiple, right?
What's the entire thing called? Like what's the word for the entire thing?
The universes.
Like
I mean, obviously the universe is gigantic. And we just
yeah, but you get what I'm saying. We don't even know how far it expands.
Right, but we don't know how far it expands. Correct.
We don't
That's
even
really
know,
what it is.
Like there's so many opportunities for life.
How could like Earth be the only true like?
There's no way.
Like ecosystem, you know what I mean? Like
there's no way.
Planet with a climate that can
now when
raise life.
Now when you say life, I mean I'm not saying necessarily other humans, but like I mean there could even be a planet with other bacteria, right? Like I mean any
which
form
has the potential to eventually
right
grow.
Any form of life. There's no way that we are the only ones.
Once again, and I say that, it goes back to my thing, like the more that we are uncovering, the less we know.
Right.
And that which gives more room for questions, right? It kind of goes back to the same thing of just even in our own Earth, right here, the planet that we live on, we don't even know all that's in the ocean. The deepest depths of the oceans, we still have a lot to uncover there.
Right.
And that's, so like, there's just a lot of mysteries. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, there is.
So anyway, let us know where you stand on that. Are you hard? Nope, we're it, and that's okay too. Let us know why you think that. Or if you're a hard, there's got to be life somewhere else. We'd love to know. We don't claim to be experts on outer space because I know I'm not.
I'm not either.
I'm not an astrologist. Astronomist, not astrologist.
Yeah, I guess
I said
astrology is.
I said astrology, but I meant astronomy.
Yeah, astrology is like what's your sign? What's your sign?
Is that called an astrologist? Is that even a thing? I bet astronomist.
Well, that's astrology, isn't it?
But can you be an astrologist?
Yeah.
Like you study people's signs? How does that work? Right.
Here, I looked it up. An astrologer is a person who uses astrology to tell others about their character or to predict their future.
Okay.
So yeah,
so
you can be an astrologer is somebody who studies astrology, so they use their signs.
Well, I'm glad I did use like a real word, but I did use the wrong one. So anyway, astronomy. Okay. You ready for my number 3? Now that we know your origins of alien love.
Yeah.
My number 3 is kind of vague, but I think merits a lot of question. My number 3 is the Area 51 secrecy.
Ooh.
Right? Area 51, it's always been on my radar, but I don't know. So anyway, here's all I'm going to say. It's really just the general secrecy of it. In 1955, the area was selected. Here's a little history of it. In 1955, the area was selected by the CIA as a testing site for the Lockheed U-2, a high-altitude... Brett, I don't even know what that word is. RECONN. I can't even spell it. RECONNAISSANSE.
You spelled it so fast, I don't know.
Reconnaissance.
Oh, reconnaissance. Yeah.
I've never heard of that word
It's
before.
like a spy, like intelligence gathering.
Let me restart this since it took me so long to figure out what that word. So reconnaissance. I've never heard that word before.
It's like a intelligence. I think it's like intelligence gathering.
Makes sense. In 1955, the Area 51, the area was selected by the CIA as a testing site for the Lockheed U-2, a high-altitude reconnaissance aircraft. President Dwight D. Eisenhower authorized the testing, which was to be conducted under the code name Project Aquatone.
Ooh.
After the U-2 was put into service in 1956, Area 51 was used to develop other aircraft, including the A-12 plane, also known as the Oxcart, and the stealth fighter F-117 Nighthawk, or 117 Nighthawk. On June 25th, 2013, so we're shooting forward pretty far, the CIA approved the release of declassified documents chronicling. Is that how you say it? Chronicling? Words are freaking me out right now.
It's how I usually am.
Chronicling, I know, I feel like you right now. Chronicling the history of the U-2 and the Oxcart programs in response to a Freedom of Information Act request. This is back in 2013. The release of those documents marked the very first time that the U.S. government formally acknowledged the very existence of Area 51.
Oh, wow.
Since then, not much other information has been forthcoming. So my main number 3 here is specifically about the secrecy just of Area 51 itself. And I'm mentioning Area 51 because a lot of people tie it to aliens, conspiracies, all that stuff, right? Why did it take us just this long to just have it be actually officially documented by the U.S. government?
There's secret stuff happening there.
Like, you're telling me it took over 50 years. I don't know about that.
And that was what year?
55 is when they started doing stuff there, and it was in 2013.
Yeah.
That's over 50 years.
Yeah.
Isn't that something? I apologize, folks, for not knowing one of the words and then also not being able to say the other one.
Yeah.
But I don't know. The Area 51 stuff's pretty strange to me. And there's
it's secret.
The secrecy is what okay, so here's the thing about like the aliens, right? Life on other planets, yes, I believe in that. Aliens, as we know them, I don't know. Could there be super intelligent life? I'm not denying it, but I don't know. However, this stuff really starts piquing my interest more than anything. More just how many secrets are there? How much do we not know?
It does, because it's like the conspiracy theories, right? Like,
yeah.
It piques your interest because
there's a lot of conspiracy theories we could talk about.
Yeah,
too.
because it's like because there's a reason they're keeping it from us. Is there a reason, or is it just to protect the government? Is it just to protect, maybe like
you're just protecting government
secrets,
assets, or
or are they actually like?
I know. It makes you wonder.
Like, some people say there's like maybe nuclear weapons there.
Well, some people say that there's alien aircraft there.
Right. So.
Yeah.
Which is it, or both?
Right, and the fact that no one's allowed near there. But it also makes you wonder, there's people that work there. There's people don't live there, they work there. They have to fly in. You can't drive there. You know that, right? You have to fly in.
No, I didn't know you could drive
That's
there.
how employees approach Area 51. They have to be flown in. You can't even approach it on foot. They're trained.
There are probably like landmines and stuff around.
I don't think there's landmines.
Well, why couldn't you drive there then?
There's not landmines, but there are trained military throughout the entire premises of the entire area 51.
Why couldn't you drive then? There's
Because-
something on the
because
ground that you
they
can't
are-
drive.
You can drive. There are signs. There's pictures. You can find pictures. We'll go more into this in a future story. I'll say that.
Okay.
But in general, I don't go super specific, so I'll say it now. Part of it now is that You can approach it. You and I could get in our cars right now and try to approach Area 51. No one's stopping us from doing that. There's lots of signage. And at one point, the signage stops, which, by the way, the signage says, we have armed military who will do what they need to do. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And meaning...
They'll get you.
They will kill you. Like guns.
Yeah.
Right? In fact, there's a story of someone has been shot and killed, but they didn't follow the rules.
I know. I think I remember that story.
Mm-hmm. That was a real thing. So
yeah.
I think that was just once. There could be more. But so you could technically approach it on foot, but if you're an employee there, you do it the right way. You fly in, which is wild to me.
Yeah, that's weird.
Anyway, it took that long just for them to even document that place actually exists.
Yeah.
It's weird. Even though everybody knows that it's there. People knew it was there before 2013.
Well, and there's reasons, and I don't know the specific reasons, but there are reasons that it's linked with aliens. And I don't know if it's because it's in the desert area and it's like linked with UFO sightings.
There's a lot of crop circles that have been spotted nearby too. And it's just like the perfect area for it, because when you think of like the stereotypical alien abduction, it's always the weird desert farmhouse, the cows, and all that stuff. Yeah. Anyway, we'll go back to that in a little bit. But right now, what's your number
4?
4.
Yeah, I know. We're jumping all over. Yeah. My number 4. So this is from history.com too. So this is a story I thought was pretty interesting. And this is about 2 pilots that believe they saw a UFO. And they reported it to the Air Force, and the Air Force destroyed the report and invalidated and said it didn't happen.
Oh my gosh, this is a trend.
So here we go. I'm just going to kind of read the story from history.com. So whatever occurred at 2:45 a.m. on the morning of July 24th, 1948, in the skies over southwest Alabama, not only shocked the witnesses, it jolted the U.S. government into a top-secret investigation, the results of which were ultimately destroyed. The skies were mostly clear and the moon was bright in the pre-dawn hours as pilot Clarence S. Childs and co-pilot John B. Whitted flew their Eastern Airlines DC-3, a twin-engine propeller plane, at 5,000 feet en route from Houston to Atlanta. The aircraft had 20 passengers on board, 19 of them asleep at that hour. It was a routine domestic flight, one of many in the skies that early morning, until suddenly it wasn't. What the 2 pilots and their wide-awake passengers saw in the skies about 20 miles southwest of Montgomery, Alabama, did more than startle them. It would reportedly become the catalyst for a highly classified Air Force document suggesting that some unidentified flying objects were spaceships from other worlds, a tipping point in UFO history. So Childs described what he saw in an official statement about a week later, and this is quote, end quote, "It was clear there were no wings present, that it was powered by some jet or other type of power, shooting flame from the rear some 50 feet. There were 2 rows of windows, which indicated an upper and lower deck, and from inside these windows, a very bright light was glowing. Underneath the ship, there was a blue glow of light," end quote. He estimated that he'd watched the ship for about 10 seconds before it disappeared into some light clouds and was lost from view. Whitted offered a similar description in his official statement. Quote, "The object was cigar-shaped and seemed to be about 100 feet in length. The fuselage appeared to be about 3 times the circumference of a B-29 fuselage. It had 2 rows of windows, an upper and a lower. The windows were very large and seemed square. They were white with light, which seemed to be caused by some type of combustion. I asked Captain Childs what he had just seen, and he said he didn't know," end quote. The passenger who was awake at the time, his name was Clarence L. McKelvey of Columbus, Ohio, corroborated the pilot's account that an unusually bright object had streaked past his window, but he wasn't able to describe it beyond that. So both pilots also made drawings of the aircraft they believed they had seen and provided further details in newspaper and radio interviews, some just hours after the sighting. They also stated that we veered to the left and it veered to its left and passed us about 700 feet to our right and about 700 feet above us. Then, as if the pilot had seen us and wanted to avoid us, it pulled up with a tremendous burst of flame out of its rear and zoomed up into the clouds. And I'm kind of skipping forward just a bit because it is a pretty long article. But ended up that for all of it became known, reportedly caused the Child's Witted encounter, as it became known, reportedly caused the Air Technical Intelligence Center to draft a top secret document with the deceptively bland title "Estimate of the Situation." By Edward J. Ruppelt, an Air Force officer and the first head of its famous Project Blue Book study of UFO phenomenon. He claimed to have seen a copy called "The Situation," and where he wrote the estimate was that the estimate.
Hello.
I know. I don't know.
Come on.
They think there was a typo in here. Anyway, but he wrote that. Okay. So according to Ruppelt, the report traveled up the Air Force chain of command all the way to General Hoyt Vandenberg, the chief of staff. The general wouldn't buy interplanetary vehicles, Ruppelt wrote. A group from the ATIC went to the Pentagon to bolster the position, but had no luck. The chief of staff couldn't be convinced. The estimate died a quick death. Some months later, it was completely declassified and regulated to the incinerator.
Wow.
So basically they wrote a report. They tried to take it up to the chief of staff and say, hey, this is what happened. It needs to be investigated. And they were like, nah, it doesn't need to be. Tear it up.
But if it were anything else.
So they just totally dismissed it.
But if it were anything else that could be identified, but still something out of the ordinary, it would have been addressed.
Right.
It's weird stuff, man.
I know.
Interesting story. Well, that was right around the time, I think, where the UFO story started to get really big, too, by the way. It was like the late 40s.
This was in 48.
Could be wrong. Don't quote me. I don't have any research for this episode, but I'm pretty sure that's right.
But it was more interesting, like the technicalities of how it fell through, right? I mean, it's all generally the same in all of our stories, right? How it gets kind of thrown out. Mm-hmm. But in this case, what's interesting is there was in this article, there was images of how it was drawn. And basically, I knew there was a description, but I think I could describe it a little bit better. It looked like an oval on its side, right? Like a rocket ship on its side. And then it had like fire coming out right of the back, like a rocket, right? And then it had two rows of windows, but there were no fins or wings or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So that's what they were like, oh, that was weird. So
I don't have much to add to that. There's a lot of similarities in when people talk about like the alien aircraft.
Yeah.
Right? Except for the story I just told a minute ago, the don't tell anyone, like about the people in the military base. That one mentioned a sound. A lot of these don't mention sounds. Have you noticed that?
Well, no. Yeah, a lot
most
of the
stories I've looked up haven't.
Well, but I've heard some stories that aren't on my list, though, about, okay, back in, was it 2020, when the government released a lot of stories from, like, the government, but, like, there have been a lot of, like, Air Force pilots who have come forward with like stories about things that
you mean the JFK files and all that stuff?
Yeah, where they've come forward with stories about where they've been in the service and they've seen UFOs, but they've heard things too before they've even seen it. Like they've heard it.
Oh, okay. I've seen stories where that's the thing where it gets kind of misconstrued, because I also see I've read stories that aren't on my list that talk about how they saw nothing, they heard nothing, but they saw it.
See, it's kind of either
listen,
or both.
I've got a really fun story to tell as my number one, but we're on number two, and this is one that is much more recent.
Okay.
And it's my continuation of Area 51.
Okay. Well, go ahead then.
So this one is my number two, alien-related story, quote unquote, because it's really kind of more not about it, but you'll see.
Okay.
Storm Area 51, they can't stop all of us. Remember this?
Oh, I do.
All right. So I have the whole thing here. I'm going to read it. It won't be too long. I just pulled this from Wikipedia. But this was really interesting to me that it even happened.
Yeah.
But I wanted to paint the picture of Area 51 first before we did this. So it's my second favorite story, the fact that we actually did this, right? All right. Storm Area 51 was an American Facebook event, just in case no one is familiar with this, that took place on and around September 20th, 2019, in the desert surrounding Area 51, a United States Air Force facility within the Nevada Test and Training Range. The event created as a shitpost by Maddie Roberts on June 27th, 2019, asked Facebook users to band together and raid the site in a search for extraterrestrial life that conspiracy lore claims may be concealed inside. More than 2 million people responded going, and 1.5 million said interested on the event's page. That's a lot of people.
Oh my gosh.
Which subsequently attracted widespread media attention and caused the event to become an internet meme. Yeah,
I remember when everybody was like, are people actually going to go?
Well, people were talking about it on the news, too.
I know.
Roberts later stated his intentions for the event had been purely comedic and disavowed responsibility for any casualties had there been any actual attempt to raid the military base. Well, the story's not over. On the day of the event, only about 150 people were reported to have shown up at the two entrances to Area 51, with none succeeding to enter the site. First of all, that's still 150 people who did it.
Yeah, I mean, man.
Okay. 2 music festivals were planned to coincide with the event. Alien Stock in Rachel, Nevada, and Storm Area 51 Base Camp in Hico, Nevada. An estimated 1,500 people attended these festivals, according to the state and law enforcement. Air Force spokeswoman Grace Manick stated government officials were briefed on the event and discouraged people from attempting to enter military property. Nevada law enforcement also warned potential participants against trespassing. The event had an effect on business both locally in Nevada and around in the United States, which prepared products for visitors and those attending the event. Of course, people were capitalizing on that. I guess I would too. The events also prompted the Federal Aviation Administration, this is an interesting part, to post 2 temporary flight restrictions, closing the airspace above 2 places nearby Area 51 during the days surrounding the planned raid. All these things that they were doing just for the, you know
wow.
what I mean? It gets even kind of weirder. The Defense Visual Information Distribution Service, the military's public relations office, made a Twitter post on September 20th depicting military personnel and a B-2 stealth bomber with the caption, quote, "The last thing #millennials will see if they attempt to raid Area 51 today," end quote.
Oh my gosh.
The tweet was later deleted, and the DVIDS issued an apology. So at one point, somebody, that's how serious they were about that stuff.
Oh my gosh.
What are you hiding in there? That's all I got to say. I know this is all a joke. It was all for comedic purposes. It was all a meme, whatever. But there was still a lot of... Now, granted, here's the thing. You need to be prepared for something like that, because what if a lot of people show up, even if you're not hiding anything? Because somebody could cause damage, cause issues, whatever, right? That's still trespassing, period. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff going on here, though. They're changing, they were changing flight patterns. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
I don't know. Area 51, man.
Yeah. That's a lot of stuff. That's more than just preparing.
And exactly. And the threatening at the end there, somebody was acting out of passion there.
Yeah.
But why else? That, I don't know.
I don't know.
Well.
That's a lot.
That's what I got. You have, I guess you're on 3 now.
No, I'm at number 2.
Oh, you're on 2? Because you already did 3. Because 3 was your Chicago O'Hare.
Yeah.
All right, well, what's your number 2? Your number 2 favorite alien story.
All right, my number 2 is something that just recently happened.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, I'm pulling it up. Okay. So this is from Los Angeles Times, and this actually just happened
Is this the...
on May the 1st
Okay.
of this year.
May the 1st be with you.
Well, it's May the 4th.
I know, that's why I said it.
Okay.
But that's still pretty funny. May the 1st be with you.
Mm-hmm.
The first what?
All right. So this was in Las Vegas. So, and I actually saw this come up first though on TikTok. And then I saw news articles come out about it. And this was very serious, actually. People took this very seriously. And I thought, oh my gosh. Okay, so I'll read the article first and then I'll kind of explain what I saw on TikTok because this article doesn't cover everything that like I saw. So on May 1st, 2023, at approximately 12:29 a.m., Las Vegas Police Department received a call about a suspicious situation. The Las Vegas Police Department said in an email statement. Officer conducted a preliminary investigation and closed the event as unfounded. So at around 11:50 p.m. on April 30th, body camera footage from an officer with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police captured a bright glowing object cutting through the sky, according to local TV Channel 8 News Now. So there was like a meteor or whatever that evening. About 40 minutes later, well, that's what they say, right? About 40 minutes later, a local resident placed a 911 call to report that something 100%, quote unquote, right, 100% not human was staring at him from his backyard shortly after he and his family saw an object fall from the sky, the station reported. And this is, quote, "There's like an 8-foot person beside it, and another one's inside it, and it has big eyes, and it's looking at us, and it's still there," unquote. The caller, who said that he and his family had seen something fall from the sky, told the dispatcher. And then, quote, "I swear to God, this is not a joke. This is actually, we're terrified," unquote, the caller said. Local TV Channel 8 News Now first reported the story and obtained the video and audio from that weird evening, including the 911 call and body cam footage. So the dispatcher clarified the situation with the caller, careful to choose the right words. He said, "So there's 2 people, there's 2 subjects in your backyard," the dispatcher asked. And the guy said, "Correct. And they're very large," the caller said. "They're like 8 foot, 9 feet, 10 foot. They look like aliens to us. Big eyes. They have big eyes. Like I can't explain it. And big mouth. They're shiny eyes. They're human. And then they're 100% not human." 2 officers responded to the caller's home, KLAS reported. And the guy said, "I'm so nervous right now." One of the responding officers, that's one of the responding officers. He said, "I'm so nervous right now." He said, while en route to the house, "I have butterflies, bro." He continued to say that people saw a shooting star, and now these people say there's aliens in their backyard. Officers interviewed the family on their front lawn. And one of the officers asked, "What did you see?" And one of the witnesses said, "It was like a big creature," and he added that it was around 10 feet tall. The officer tells him that tells him about the incident his colleague saw just before the call came in, which was like the light in the sky. And he said, "I'm not going to BS you guys. When my partners said they just saw something fall out of the sky too," the officer said. "So that's why I'm kind of curious. Did you see anything land in your backyard?" A man in a robe said some of his family members saw a big something with light plummet from above. Police continued to investigate that evening, asking neighbors if they too had witnessed any unusual objects fall from the sky. KLAS reported the investigation lasted for several days. The Department of Defense is tracking more than 800 cases of unidentified aerial phenomena, often called UFOs, from the past 27 years, according to government officials, who added that only 2% to 5% of those cases can be explained. So that's the end of that article. So
wow, also a crazy stat.
Yeah. So in Las Vegas, in this case, this is from the Los Angeles Times. This is a news article, but this case was taken. I know it sounds kind of bizarre, like I know it does, right? But it was taken very seriously. The police, they investigated it for several days.
Yeah.
Like the police, and I saw like there is, you can find it online. There is body cam footage. The police saw, and you can see like the car footage from like the cop car of like the meteor or whatever it was, right? The shooting, and you can see them like, what was that in the sky?
Or the aircraft.
Right, whatever, right? You can see like, oh, what was that? It was a meteor or whatever. Oh, how cool. And then they get the call come in a couple minutes later or whatever of like, oh, hey, they're saying there's some weird something in their backyard. And they're like, he was like, bro, like, we just saw
So
that.
there's video of this.
Yeah.
Of him talking on the phone about it too?
Yes. And so, And so then they go to the house, and then they have the body cam footage, right? And they kind of piece it together, right? But they have body cam footage of where they go up and they're talking to the people, and the people don't speak fluent English. Like, I don't think English was their first language. And so they're talking and asking them questions, and you don't actually see any creature or whatever. Now, on TikTok, you can find, and now I don't know, I watched this video.
Oh my gosh.
But you can find a video where somebody points out, and it's slow motion and it's zoomed in, and I can kind of see what they're talking about, but I don't know. But like there's a video though of where, and it does look a little weird. I don't know. It's a little far-fetched, but it does look a little weird. Where the cop is walking up to the fence to go in the backyard talking to the people, and like there's a shadow on the far right-hand side, like behind the fence, and like you see a shadow like shift and move, and you see something move in between the cracks of the fence post. But now I don't know. I mean, it could just be the tree or a bush or whatever. I don't really know. And it was so fuzzy. It's a body cam footage, you know. But anyway, it is a little weird. So, but it was weird. It is weird though that like everybody in the family is like, oh, we see something, and like we see anyway. I don't know. And it's in that desert area, Las Vegas, Nevada.
It's always that area.
Yeah.
They like it over there.
It's that deserty kind of abduction area.
I wonder why, though, that too. Well, that's an interesting story. I had missed out on that.
Yeah.
So
So that's my number 2.
Well, I'm sure that blew up TikTok for a while. That is interesting. That is.
Mm-hmm.
I am curious to at least see that body cam footage. All right. Well, I'm going to wrap mine up with definitely my favorite alien story that I have found during my studies.
I'm excited to know what it is.
This is another story. This one just was like, whoa. This one
was just like, whoa.
Whoa, dude. This one came also from Reddit. Another one of those. So we don't really know the name of the person who wrote this. But this has been titled, rather, The Missing Hour.
Ooh.
Good title. All right. Driving in the UK from a friend's dinner party. We set off around 10 p.m. Though we have to listen because there's going to be a lot of moving parts here.
Let me settle in.
See, this implies that she wasn't listening before.
No,
so
I was
she
listening. I was listening before. I was prepping for my number 1. I was making sure my website was pulled up and stuff to be ready. So now I'm full attention.
The Missing Hour.
Okay.
Driving in the UK from a friend's dinner party.
Mm-hmm.
We set off around 10 p.m. for a 15-minute drive home. There was myself, my wife in the front, and my 3 sons in the back of the car.
It's a lot of kids.
There's a lot of kids. We were driving near a USAF base in the southeast of England along a long, straight piece of road when there was an incredible flash that the wife and I noticed, and it seemed to wake up one of the elder sons in the back. He would have been about 12 at the time. Something, I have no idea what, flew with absolute silence over the car. I saw it, my wife saw it, and the son in the back who was awakened by the flash saw it. Something flew right over us so close you could touch it, and it was big. We got home, discussed it a bit, and concluded the flash was a flare from the USAF base, and the large quote-unquote object that flew over us may have well been a Eurasian eagle owl. One had been spotted in this area recently. It was promptly forgotten. Fast forward just over a decade. This is written kind of weird. Fast forward just over a decade, and I and the son who was woken by the flash are talking about this weird event over dinner when the youngest son, who, remember, didn't wake up during this event, tells us how he remembered it happening. He recalled an event that was vastly different than ours. He had never told this story before. He thought it was a dream until we started talking about it. He described how the car was stopped when we saw the flash. We weren't moving, and the low-flying object sat on top of us for a few seconds and then flew off before the car started again. Apparently, I completely ignored this stop-start and simply continued driving. Now, here's the really weird bit that we had never realized. My wife had made arrangements to call her sister when we arrived home safely. We left around 10 p.m. for a 15-minute drive. My wife called her sister around 11:45 p.m. to say we have arrived home. I have no idea what happened that night. I was completely sober. My youngest son insists that something very odd happened. My wife is adamant that we took approximately 90 minutes to do a 15-minute drive. Her sister backs this up too. I might not know what happened that night, but I am secure in the thought that something happened.
Oh my gosh. That's so weird.
Isn't that weird? The missing hour.
Oh my gosh.
And the fact that the youngest son pictures something totally different and he was supposedly asleep.
That's weird.
Isn't that weird? That one made me feel goosebumpy and weird, so that had to be my number one.
Oh, that's weird.
Because it's like, yeah, there's like the phone receipt that shows they called at 11:45 and they left at 10, and it's a 15-minute drive. What happened?
That's weird. I don't know.
I know. That's a weird one. I know.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that good? See, this is what I ended up really liking this episode. This is fun.
I don't know.
Yeah, there you go.
That's weird.
By the way, everybody
These are creepy.
listening, tell us. We'd love to know, too. If you just want to tell us a million things today, tell us your favorite story of ours that we've shared. Which one's your favorite?
Yeah. Now, my number one is not as, like, interesting
Dang
as
it!
that.
I should have ended. I knew I should have ended. Can we start this over?
No.
Okay. What's your number one?
All right. My number one. That was a good number one, though.
Thank you.
It was a good number one. My number one is about
aliens.
Yes.
Good job, Steph.
Mine is about the UFO hearing that just took place.
Yeah, this freaked you out and nobody else cares. No, hold on, let me explain, because that made me sound like a complete ass. That's not what I meant. I just meant like, it seems like nobody in general cares about this story. But you do care about it. She did not want me to say any of that.
I don't know if that sounded any better.
I know. Okay, here's what I'm trying to say. There's a lot of jokes online about this story, about how, like, the government's coming out talking about...
Yeah, like, nobody cares.
And nobody cares.
It's
That's
like,
what I mean. I'm not saying Steph has a story and nobody cares. That's not what I mean.
I know what you mean.
It's hilarious. I tried to, like, backtrack, and I didn't make it any better.
I know what you mean, though.
Yeah.
It's like, I've seen those jokes, too. It's like millennials or whatever, like, whatever.
Like, how am I going to...
Like, you think inflation's so high, we don't care.
Right.
Like,
Are these aliens going to pay my rent?
Yeah.
And, like, hello.
Like, whatever.
Are they going to help, cover the interest on my home that I'm trying to buy that's $700,000 and should be $200,000?
Yeah, it's like, who cares?
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's very interesting that they're basically, I don't know. I think there are two sides to it, that the government basically allowed for a publicized hearing about the existence of, UFOs, and like whistleblowers, coming out of like,
yeah,
the military, like, to be publicized.
Right.
I think there's a reason why they allowed it to be publicized, and I don't know what the reason is, right? It's like, maybe they're being like, oh, we're being more open about things. It's a positive thing, whatever. But
no.
Yeah. Why? Why are they allowing it to be publicized? Is it to distract from something else?
That's what I always think. That's the conspiracist in me, but that's what I always think about. It's like, what are they trying to turn our heads away from?
Right. What is this a distraction from? Why are you sharing this? Why are you allowing this? What are you gaining from this?
Well, they're not gaining much at all, because at the same time,
or they're gaining a distraction.
Well, yeah.
They're gaining what are you getting from publicizing this?
What I just mean is that they're not really gaining, I don't know what they are, because they are also not stupid at all. The government's not dumb. They are completely aware of how much we like have conspiracies and how much we like theorize about the existence of aliens and UFOs and all this stuff. It's even if it's not public, even if it's not like officially talked about very much by the federal government, they know that we talk about this stuff already. So they also knew that our reaction probably wasn't going to be anything crazy. It's like, well, I knew about this already.
But to confirm it.
I don't know, just the timing. I don't get it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so this is from USA Today. This was published on July 26th of this year.
What year, just in case someone's listening later?
2023.
Okay.
It's updated on August 21st, 2023.
Oh.
The article is titled "Witnesses Call for Increased Military Transparency on UFOs During Hearing Long Overdue." House lawmakers convened a hearing as bipartisan pressure mounts for more transparency regarding UFOs. Here are the key takeaways from the explosive hearing. So I figured we'd just go through a couple things together. This is a recap of the hearing. So the notion that the U.S. government not only has knowledge of extraterrestrials, but has directly encountered them, long confined to the realm of conspiracy theory, is now a matter of congressional public record. 3 former military members, all of whom have previously spoken publicly about their firsthand knowledge of reported encounters with strange and mysterious flying objects, appeared Wednesday before Congress for a hearing on the national security threats such phenomena could pose. Their testimony before the U.S. House came at a time of mounting bipartisan pressure on the executive branch of government and the military to release more information about so-called unidentified anomalous phenomena, more commonly referred to as unidentified flying objects. Across more than 2 hours of testimony, the 3 witnesses also provided accounts before the House Oversight Committee's National Security Subcommittee of their understanding for how the federal government has handled or suppressed reports of strange encounters documented by pilots. So here we go, pulling it all together, right? Over the years, all these stories about how the government has repressed or destroyed accounts of encounters, right, with UFOs. So who testified? Ryan Graves, who's a former Navy pilot. Commander David Freyer, who's among Navy pilots. David Grush, I think I said the same right, a former Air Force and intelligence officer who was a member of a previous Pentagon task force that investigated UAP, which I don't remember what UAP stands for.
I mean, it's under Apple Pants. Besides
no,
that, I'm not sure.
It stands for
the Union.
No, it stands for something unidentified.
Okay, whatever.
Something though. Okay. All right. So, Crush claims the Pentagon has retrieved spacecraft and non-human biologics. So Grush's testimony was highly anticipated following the explosive interview he did in June with News Nation, in which he accused the Pentagon of a plot to cover up an alleged secretive crash retrieval program for vehicles of non-human origin. So he claimed that he became aware of the Pentagon's program that oversaw the collection of up to a dozen alien spacecraft, and in some cases, the bodies themselves of the otherworldly pilots. Those claims resurfaced Wednesday's hearing.
Who said this?
Grush. He was the guy who worked for the Pentagon.
For the Pentagon, okay.
Mm-hmm. With Grush saying that the U.S. likely has been aware of what he characterized as non-human activity since the 1930s. Grush, who referred to the pilots as non-human biologics, said his apparent knowledge is based on conversations and interviews he's had with 40 people, many of whom he said are still working in the program. He said he has denied access. He said he was denied access to those programs and accused the military of misappropriating funds to keep Congress in the dark about what it was doing.
But why all the secrecy about this? I still don't get that part. I mean, I get it, I guess. But what do you have more to say?
Well, there's a couple other highlights. So like that was one of them, right? So that was a big takeaway. And then witnesses described flying objects performing unexplained maneuvers. So in one stunning account, Graves described airborne pilots. So he was a pilot, Graves was. He witnessing dark gray or black cubes flying inside of clear spheres. Graves was an F-18 pilot stationed in Virginia Beach in 2014 when his squadron reported encountering mysterious eerie objects that had no wings, gave off no infrared radiation, and had no obvious means of self-propulsion. Graves testified the accounts were reported for a period of 8 years, and as far as I know, still are occurring, he said.
Okay.
He had some other encounters too, but that all came out. All those encounters came out. Those who came forward may face serious reprisals. Since becoming a whistleblower, Grush testified that he has faced personal and professional retaliation, some of which has caused him to fear for his life. Citing an ongoing investigation on his behalf, Grush declined to divulge details of what he deemed administrative terrorism that has been very brutal against both himself and former colleagues. It actually makes me very upset to see that happen to other coworkers and superiors of mine, he said. And then also attempts to reverse engineer alien spacecraft have led to injuries. Grush testifies. During the hearing, he testified that he has knowledge of people who were injured attempting to reverse engineer recovered spacecraft. Quote, I know multiple colleagues of mine that got physically injured, he said, by UAPs or by people within the federal government, asked Representative Eric Burleson, and he answered both. Though he was intentionally cryptic, Grush said that he and his wife personally witnessed what he and his wife both personally witnessed was very disturbing.
How could you?
And all the witnesses said they could share more behind closed doors.
Well, yeah, this could either be obviously it's all BS, or they really are, they're fearing for their lives with the amount of knowledge they have. And probably the amount of pull these people have that don't want them to speak up and whistleblow.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, we have the idea.
Yeah.
First of all, getting injured by reverse engineering, I'm not sure. I don't follow that.
So they have this spacecraft, and what they're doing is they're trying
I know what
to
reverse engineering is.
Yeah, take it apart.
But how would you get hurt doing that?
Well, because maybe something like they don't understand. They don't understand the technology. So it could be that there's energy, or there's something that's very powerful, or something that they don't understand.
Okay, I get it.
And that
makes sense.
That's
true, because if these are these aren't human built machines or whatever, who knows? We don't know how they work, how they run, how they operate.
Well, just
what they're powered on.
If we didn't know what electricity was,
that could hurt us really bad.
Yeah, and you tried to
right.
Yeah.
Well, for a long time we didn't know what it was.
Right. So anyway.
And then Abraham Lincoln came along.
I know.
And discovered
Abraham Lincoln. Anyway, I don't know. I just think it's
I know. It's like you've totally just fell for it.
I know, I did. Well, because I just believe what you say.
That's a dangerous game.
I know it is. I just think it's very interesting that all these things come out. And I don't know. And then it's like it's all, the hearing's over, and then it's like, oh, well.
But why now?
And now we don't hear anything else about it. Like, okay, bye.
I think that's just us now, though. That's just us as humans now. It's always on to the next thing. Nothing satisfies anymore.
Yeah.
Wait, there's more. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
That is, I see. In fact, I didn't know all of that stuff. I didn't know the extent of it, so I did learn a little bit there. I don't have much to say other than let's have some fun. No, I mean, I really don't know what to say. But I do always wonder, he talks about, fearing for his life. Why does this have to be so secret? I understand some reasons why. But keeping Americans a little bit informed might be nice. Obviously, nobody wants to instill panic. Because...
Maybe, spies.
Yeah.
For other countries, maybe.
Perhaps, yeah.
I don't know.
Also, though, a lot of that stuff... Now, that particular witness talked about... He specifically said... I can't remember how he said it, but, non-human biologics, yeah. Okay. But I know a lot of those witness reports were mainly specifically about like aircraft and less about biologics, right? And a lot of those discussions specifically were about like what would be legally identified as a UFO, which could be anything. It could be human-made, easily, right? No one says a UFO can't be made by humans. It's just an unidentified flying object. So, like, I wonder if a lot of these things, maybe there's a little bit of proof of something else, but I feel like a lot of it's just more talk about the same crap we already know about. Objects that could be aircraft from other countries that are spying or whatever.
I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to dig deeper into what was discussed or watch the videos from the hearing to really know or whatever.
Have you seen those?
I watched a little bit of it.
I bet it was interesting.
It was during work time, so I didn't.
You hear that? She was watching videos during work. You hear that, everybody?
No, not much, but not very much. But I mean, that's why I didn't really watch all of it.
Well, we should sit down and watch it as a romantic night one night.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
Well, we don't have any answers to these.
No, it's
questions.
This is how it goes. Tell us your stories.
Tell us your stories.
If you have any cool stories. I don't know. That's what's fun about these. It's like, who knows?
Yeah.
It's fun to think about and conspire and be like, well, I guess we'll never really know unless an alien comes and abducts us.
And it better be fun.
It.
Or what if we forget and it's been an hour and we come back and that's it?
Well, then we'll never know.
Then
we'll still be in the same position.
And we'll still have our same number one hot new podcast. The Two-Piece Podcast.
Yeah.
That'll never change. Do you think there's like an alien equivalent somewhere, like at some other planet, where
Probably.
they have a couple has a podcast, an alien couple, and they're like, we're so different from each other, in whatever their language is, right?
Yeah.
We're so different from each other. We should broadcast us talking about,
Yeah.
You know what? They're probably super intelligent, and they discovered what a podcast is long before we did.
Yeah, probably.
They've probably been doing podcasts since the 20s.
They're probably past podcasts now.
Yeah. Whatever the next thing is.
Yeah.
Codpasts. You never know.
Okay.
All right. Well, that was a stupid joke. So before I get even stupider, Steph, why don't you tell everybody where they can follow us, and then we'll randomly pick the next topic for next week.
Right. At the Two-Piece Pod on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube as well.
Is there anything that they can do while they're there? Can they?
You can comment.
You can comment.
And leave your stories.
Yeah. You
can also give us any suggestions you would like for future topics.
That's it. Please do. Please do. It can be a top 5 of anything. It can be alien stories. It can be favorite ways to dance. It doesn't matter. We're going to randomly pick one in just a moment, but we would love to know. And once again, continue the conversation. If you have any alien stories you'd like to share, please share it with us. That would mean a whole lot, even if it's nice and short. We'll share it on the next episode of the Two-Piece Podcast.
Yes, I'm excited. Please leave some stories,
And after you leave those, you can leave those anywhere you want. Comment on YouTube, and anywhere. You can put it obviously on this Spotify post.
And on whatever post you want. It doesn't matter.
We'll find it. We'll see it. But that being said, I think it's time to draw. Oh, also rate the podcast. Thank you. And subscribe to the YouTube channel. Do all the things. Steph, why don't you give me the drum roll? And we're going to randomly pick the next topic. Here we go. Our top 5 favorite things to do on a rainy day.
Oh.
That's a pretty stark departure from alien stories, but that'll be fun.
I like that one, though.
Okay, cool.
I like that one. I'm excited for that one.
Well, we get rain in this part of the country in September, so it works out.
Yeah, so, that's a fun one.
Cool. Top 5 favorite things to do on a rainy day. I'll like this one. It'll be good. And you don't know who suggested this one, but you'll find out next time on the Two-Piece Podcast. I'm talking to you, Steph.
Uh-huh.
Anyway. All right. Well, I think we're going to head out. We've stayed quite a bit. We're running an hour and 20 minutes. Wow.
Woo.
So you get a little extra 20 minutes of Steph and me and Steph. There's the next podcast name. Side note, going to say it really quick. I told Steph if she ever she's thinking about, this is a plug if she ever opens it up in the future, of opening up an Etsy store. Okay, I won't say what she would sell on there. That's a surprise. But she's talking about it, and I told her your name for your Etsy store should be Stefanily.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought of that right there,
Just
but
how to spell that.
spelling it would be weird. I guess it could just be definitely with Steph in front, like instead of DEF, it'd just be STE.
Yeah.
But either way,
That'd be cute.
we will definitely be back next time on the Two Piece Podcast. Be good, make good choices,
Thanks.
and brush your teeth.
Yeah.
All right, we're out of here.
Bye.
Bye.